Hey guys, it's Miss D. I hope you're having a good day today. You are going to need to listen to my directions for the entire class period in order to finish this painting. So last time, remember, we talked about Pointillism and George Seurat and how he used to paint with dots in order to make his paintings. Now, if you look on the board, you're going to see we're either going to paint pictures of pumpkins and leaves, the changing leaves of fall, or if you are in 3rd through 4th grade, you're going to be painting a fall landscape with pumpkins and fall trees and also leaves on the bottom. I'm going to go through step by step on how to at least start the background of your painting. So you'll need to have your paper landscape style, which is long ways. Not this way, which is portrait style, okay? It needs to be this way, all right? You are going to need to put your name on the paper. So you're gonna have to grab a pencil from the caddies in the middle of your table. And so I'm gonna write Miss D on one side of my paper. And then you're gonna need to flip it over on the other side of the paper in order to paint. So you should not be painting on the same side as your name, okay? So you're going to paint the background first. Now the background is everything behind the pumpkins, okay? Or behind the trees and the pumpkins. So I'm going to paint the sky first, and then I'm gonna paint the grass. Now the sky has to end somewhere. So we have to make something that's called a horizon line. Now the horizon line is about 2/3 down from the paper, which is about right here, okay? So let's see, it's about right there on the paper, okay? Let's move this a little bit. So there's the top of your paper, right here. And then if you go down about, not halfway, but just about until you have a little bit of room left on your paper. So if you can see that line, you see that line is almost to the bottom of the paper, but not quite, okay? So this whole top area is going to be blue, and this whole bottom area is going to be green here, okay? So we're gonna do the blue first. Now we're going to be using this thicker brush, okay? It should have either a number 11 or a number 10 on it, see right there. And then this tiny brush that either has a 1, 2, or 3 on it there, you're not gonna use that until later, until we do our pumpkins or our trees or the faces on our pumpkins, okay? So we don't have to use this skinny brush. We're only gonna use this big brush for the first part of our video, okay, or for the first part of our painting. So we can go ahead and put that little brush back. So what we have to do first is we need to wet our paintbrush. Now, we don't have to stick the whole paintbrush in there, because if we get water underneath this metal part, it's going to break off, okay? It's going to separate from the rest of the brush, right? This wooden part would come out. So we need to be careful, and we just need to put water on the tip, okay? So you take a little bit of water, just enough to get that tip with a little bit of water, okay? Now, your paint tray has a bunch of different colors in it, right? It's got purples and blues and greens and the warm colors like red and orange, and we've got the neutrals right there. Okay, white, black, brown, and beige, all right? So there's 2 different kinds of blues. There's this brighter blue, and then there's this darker blue. It does not matter which one that you choose. For right now, I'm gonna choose this darker blue color, okay? And you use that water to get a little bit of the paint on the brush. All right, so just kind of rub it all around there. So your brush should look like that, all full of paint, okay? So now what we have to do is we have to make our horizon line, okay? The horizon line is where the grass starts, okay? Down here towards the bottom of the page is where the grass is gonna start and where the sky is going to go up here at the top. So what I have to do is I have to start on one side of the paper. I'm gonna start over here on the left side, and I'm gonna decide it's gonna start right there, okay? Then I have to draw, or I have to paint a dotted line all the way across. And if it's not completely straight, that's okay, because just like outside, just like nature, the land is not straight across. So now that I have my horizon line, now I know that the sky is gonna go up here and the grass is gonna go down here. So now I have to fill in this whole top part with blue paint, okay? And like I said, you can use this darker paint or darker blue paint, or you can use the brighter blue, and that's what the brighter blue would look like. And you have to bring it all the way down to the horizon line, okay? So you're gonna fill that all the way up. Get a little bit more paint, fill it all the way up. No white spots. You guys know I don't like white spots in your painting. Okay, now your dots aren't gonna look like dots after a while. Your dots are gonna start kind of all mixing together. Oops. You're gonna start all mixing together, and that's okay. We want your painting to look a little fuzzy, okay? So just for the sake of the video and for the sake of time, so you guys have enough time to paint, I'm only gonna do half of my picture, okay? So fill in your sky. Now remember, you're gonna do this whole other side, okay? Don't forget to do this blue side, okay? So you're gonna do that. Then, once you finish your sky, and only when you finish your sky, you're gonna clean your brush in the water, okay? You just kind of swish it around. You're gonna use your towel, okay? Your towel that should be in your basket or in your caddy. You have to share it with your neighbors, okay? You're gonna clean off your brush, make sure there's no more blue, and we have to move on to the green part. So, remember, we have to dip our paintbrush just a little bit, enough to get the hair wet. Then we're gonna go on and we're gonna get green on our brush, okay? So fill your brush up with green. All right, and the green is it makes bubbles, and I don't know why, but some of the green makes bubbles and some of it doesn't. That's all right, it doesn't matter. The bubbles aren't gonna make a difference. So get green on your brush, okay? Then, let's move this up a little bit to where I can see my grass. So there's the bottom of my painting, and oops, I got some blue paint on my picture, that's all right. So now I'm gonna have to cover this whole space, the whole thing, with green, okay? So we're gonna do green all the way across. Now some of you guys might have a different green, and that's okay. But notice, I'm putting paint all the way to where the blue stops, okay? You have to put that blue, or that green all the way up to where the sky ends, right? Because the sky ends right here, and the grass is gonna start right here, okay? So I'm only gonna do half, but remember, you have to do the whole thing over here too, all the way to the end of the paper, okay? No white spots. So fill this up. All right, now a really cool thing that you could do too, that I like to do, is I like to mix colors. And just like I told you, I like to mix colors on my paper. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a little bit of yellow over here. My yellow is kind of messy, but it's okay. So get a little bit of yellow and just get it really good on my paintbrush. Okay. And you don't have to do this very hard. I'm not brushing very hard. I'm just doing it very lightly. But I got some yellow on my paintbrush, okay? So then I'm gonna go right on top, and I'm gonna do those dots like George Seurat I'm going to go right over that blue paint. And it's going to start to look way more realistic. And realistic means that it's going to start looking more real, right? Just like something, if maybe we were to take a photograph of a field with trees and pumpkins in it, this is what it would be like. Okay? And the reason why we add a little bit of yellow on top is because it's fall time. And during the fall time, the leaves start to change, right? They start to change colors, and we talked about that last time. They start to turn to orange and brown and red and yellow. And so the grass starts to change too. Grass doesn't stay green all the time. It starts to turn yellow, and then it turns that brown color, right? So I'm just going to add a little bit more yellow. Bring it all the way down, bring it all the way up to your horizon line, just like that. Okay? So you should be able to tell that half of, or more than half of your painting has that blue sky on it, right? It's got that blue sky. And then on the bottom, it's got that green grass, okay? Now, that's all we have to do for today. You just have to do your sky and you have to do your grass, okay? Now, if your sub catches you, okay, fine. Okay, go. So if you are, sorry about that, boys and girls. Once you are finished with your sky and your grass, and let's say you want to make your sky a little bit darker, then you can add just a little bit of purple. Okay, just a little bit, okay? And if you want to make your sky dark, almost like your pumpkins are hanging out at night in the pumpkin patch, then you will put that purple right towards the top of the page. Okay? Now, if your sub catches you painting like this, and you're not doing the dot method and you're painting like up and down, side to side, side to side, your sub is going to pick up your paper and your paintbrush, and you're not going to paint anymore. You're going to stop what you're doing, because that's not pointillism, is it, boys and girls? We're doing pointillism, just like George Seurat did. Okay? So you can add a little bit of that purple, and it makes it a really nice blue-violet, which is a tertiary color. All right? Now, once you're done, you need to take both hands, okay, and you're going to carry it both hands. And you need to listen to your sub, because she's going to call your table color. Okay, she's either going to call purple table, blue table, red, yellow, or green. And you're going to have to hold your papers by two hands, and she's going to go to the drying rack and she's going to put your painting away. Okay, now don't worry about the pumpkins, don't worry about the trees, don't worry about the leaves, don't worry about anything, because when I come back, that's when we're going to go ahead and paint the rest of our details. And we're going to talk about foreground, we're going to talk about middle ground. But you already learned what horizon line was, right? The horizon line was where the sky ends and where the grass begins. Okay? So make sure you follow this video step by step, and if you have any questions or you need any supplies or materials, then please ask your sub. Please be good, be on your best behavior, show the sub that you are a leader at Cable Elementary, that you're not following anybody who has bad behavior, and make sure that you make good choices. Thank you, boys and girls. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you sometime next week, hopefully for our Fun Friday. Okay? Be good.